as remarking to the enemy as the role on the broad stage as for the United States is not to have been placed in a hardship on Americans. That means the tax wealth for every household has been called to fold this immigration sanctioning. Saying so sorry for your experiences, but our expenses have grown beyond recognition, showing that no one has a memory call of humanitarian posturing policies all now fold. We have been misled through this rhetoric of calling the mob sanctuary placing using of the media to cause news time shoring to fault for the security of our lives. None will have a job by Tuesday if you don't get this ID theft shown as halted and folded. Not one person in that country should be coming across the border begging for help that they have inconsistency with the mobs controlling their governments. Not one that supposedly saved all of the country should be saved. That means, why are we still having tourism going on in Mexico? It is a beautiful grounding from the support of U.S. tax wealth. Therefore, this headquarters as a military and police ranking was only to be shown as Federal Bureau assistance, from which through headquarters of that government was to stand up in protest of all of these migrants coming through open gateways, claiming that they're suffering. We have all 50 of our states suffering for homelessness. And drugs are being sold through this migrant shoring, proceeding as if the names recognizing the world power. The property lines have been drawn as the United States is a sovereign land. Drawn down as the call for use of action. Hence, I said, I don't chase boardrooms or broadband payments as ban on travel permits. It fails. We're all having hardships and home sales failures. Our kids' well-being is a matter of fact, too. Our black kids and white kids are being killed inside our schools, on buses, etc. As shown as migration was not ever allowed per the Constitution, the framing of this country from the independence claim from 1776. It now grounds the protocol issues as a procedural violations. None may be stuck with pay portals as a prejudice shown, biased. The military tactics were shown as those men, power bill paying, as storefronts and government parades shoring our civilians footing this bill. Now showing a sympathy vote as drawn a gas code is now fallen. Our kids are being killed. Our black kids and black men are being killed. Black men and black women and white men and white women sleeping on Skid Road without the possibility of getting assistance. While we keep opening the gates to sad tale stories, we can look in the United States and see for ourselves. The country is falling apart. There's no black leader speaking for the entire land. That's a presidential call. Not one president may stay in office harming the civilians. The grindstones from all of this hedge fund projection fraud as an agency database breach was called, what is this land? What have we stood for? We stood for rights protection abroad, and we came across sabotage through unjust means. That means accepting your kids as our kids does not resolve the problem. It creates more harm on this land, separating our men and women from their families as they have extended tour duties that are not constitutional. Tracking from all of our families. No military bases are United States territory abroad. That means we are to shut down this problem at once and detach all of this action case filing as domestic violence or rape cases or any pending victims listings. The call for reassigning the action of enforcement at Winfield as follows. Not only was a panel of instruction as instituting more RICO racketeering as a panel ballot box folding called not ordained, this mishandling and mismanaging of all of our houses, sanctioning our individual expenses to live and operate in this land. Migrants coming here not earning a living and being placed on government sanctioning was a teardrop, ducks, tapes, invalid. No such support as rotating pay portals is allowed. What this government has stood for is rights protection abroad, not overting government penalties as the IMF supplies and food chain network filings. It all now halts, I said so. We were to be revered as helping the call for saving lives for the freedoms that we fought for. Our military fights for rights only, not bringing back all of this old tax credits, putting all the hardship on our households. All of these citizens, civilians, are to be sent back under Mexico's protection without a guest pass. We don't house all of these facilities. You also have the capacity to border off an area for your citizens to remain in sheltering supported by that government while you go and stomp out the gang violence or the police inconsistencies of harassment. I said lose all of this control for mafia outfits controlling each and every government. You are to vacate those premises if you cannot obligate safeguarding all of those rights. I said so. Now you clean no more house document, DACA folding in the United States. And you let go of terms that we don't agree upon. I said so.